What we did find out later that day, was that we have been hit with a moratorium. So here's my first thoughts. 1, what is a moratorium? Let me explain it to you. A moratorium is when our testing centers in the industry have found a test that could be a false positive or could be a positive, but while they have the read that they have, they want everybody to halt production. No more shooting until it's over, and no more shooting until the tests come through and they direct us from there. Now, we have a great system in place. We now test every 14 days. We used to test every 30 days. So let's just say said performer would have been tested 30 days. They have to find a lot more people, because what they like to do is they like to find, we're going to retest this person first. If the test does come back positive and now we have a positive HIV in the talent pool, then what they'll do is they'll go through the partners. Was it an onset transmission? Is there anyone in their personal life? So it's a time-consuming thing for the moratorium to be properly handled. And it's really like, hey, let's take a beat. Let us connect with everybody. So that's what a moratorium is. It is an industry-involved group that assists us and keeps us on the right path by letting us know. Now, the other side of my mind is like, okay, fuck. I had 4 days scheduled for this movie. Now my entire movie is going to miss a whole nother month of release because I'm short one scene. Not only am I short one scene, the likelihood of me getting this same location is less than likely. So now I'm not going to have my location match. Then I'm thinking, now mind you, all of this is going on while everyone's talking to me. Then I'm thinking, okay, I only had 1 more day to shoot. Then I have things to do this week. I go to Tampa this weekend to go to the Dollhouse. But my crew, as talent, we have the option to do so many other things. Any of these girls can go to a strip club and dance. We can work on our OnlyFans. We can sell items on my sexy auctions. We can work on our social media. But my crew, when it comes to makeup, camera, and crew, they don't have as many other options to get last minute work. They've already set up their schedule, and I'm sure they've said no to jobs because of schedule conflicts, and now they can't cover these jobs, so they don't work. So I made the executive decision to not cancel my crew for the following day, which was Friday. Though I wouldn't be getting in a scene for my new movie, I would shoot a bunch of solos for my website, and everyone could still work and we could still stay on schedule. I still had the location. Why not use the beautiful settings at the ranch and give my website members some awesome outdoor content? So it worked. And that's the side of me that learned to pivot. That's the side of me that learns not to panic. That's the side of me that wants to share that. And I spoke with Gina about it at the end of the day. We were talking about the moratorium, and I said, as a performer, now's the time for you to get busy on things that you need to catch up with, whether it's working on new wardrobe, whether it's putting some things up for sale, but this isn't a time to panic. And one of the things I've noticed in the industry for years is when it happens, we get a bad test, something goes wrong, there's a lot of blame placed. There's a lot of negativity that flies. There's a lot of fear that's out there. It's just fear. That's where this negativity comes from. It's out of fear. And I've always done the same thing. When we get a positive test, the first thing I do is I pray for that person, because I can only imagine what they're going through. And I can only imagine how it would feel if it was me. And when you enter into this business, you have to be aware that I always equate it to being a race car driver. So a race car driver gets into a race and really wants to win. But many things can happen. A race car driver can see a deadly crash happen right in front of him. He can get into a deadly crash himself. He can get into a life-changing crash. So this race car driver that trains for this, just like I do for my scenes, that works for this by getting sponsors like I do for my podcast on Gas Digital Network, all the things that we do, we are taking this chance. And though we're tested and regulated, there's still a risk. Though there's all the safety precautions in a race car, there is still a risk. There's still something that can happen. So I always take that moment. And when people reach out to me, friends of mine, and they're hemming and hawing, and I say, the most important thing we can do right now is pray for that person, because I'm sure this is the hardest thing to process. It's really none of our business with HIPAA laws who it is. We shouldn't be trying to get that type of information. We should be taking a beat, saying a prayer, being thankful that we have this testing protocol in place that can prevent something like this from spreading and being worse. The fact that we went from 30 days to 14 is amazing. We're doing everything that we can, but I accept the risk. I look at it like I'm a race car driver or an athlete. Injuries happen, things happen, and this is part of it. So I don't get angry about it. And I have a lot of fans reaching out to me by direct message, and they're angry about it. Why can't this be better? What can we do? Like, isn't the testing good enough? Well, stop. This isn't about you. And I went at it with a fan last week, and I was like, please stop with your nagging and blaming, because it's annoying and it's not what any of us need. In our mind, we're worried about ourselves and we're worried about all of our peers. To have to justify it to strangers, it makes me angry. But I'm not angry at the bad tests, because these things happen in life. We don't announce when these things happen. Diseases happen off the porn world, but this happens. This is life. People get sick, people get injured, people get ill. Not fun, not awesome, but the reality is this. You have to accept the good and the bad with what you're doing. So since I'm in my head that way, it's still amplified after you just shot 3 sex scenes and you haven't shot any sex scenes since the end of February. Out of my shooting days so far, I have been on set about 10 days. 2 days, my first texts I saw were girls had committed suicide. 2 separate days, 2 separate girls. Third day was this week. The first text was, there's an HIV positive. So many people would probably say, oh, this is a sign. This is a reminder that this is the life that I entered back into for a reason. And if what I can do is stay here and educate the world that we're prepared for this and we're ready and that it's not easy and that everyone needs support and that we're going to be okay, then I stay. I see it as a sidebar, as something that we all have to accept as our reality and could potentially happen.
This is the life I chose.